Hey friends, Mystery here. Today with a bit of a different sort of video. I mean, granted it is a Yap video, so how different is it really? No, today the main difference in the video is the topic. Instead of being about Dark Tide necessarily, it is instead a video about me and about the channel and about you, collectively, not like personally. I don't know you guys individually. I certainly don't follow you around or track your comings and goings from behind the bush across the street from where you park your car. There's no evidence of that. You can't prove it, and you'll never catch me. No, instead, today it is, of course, celebrating 40,000 subscribers to the channel, which is, I know, an arbitrary number, and subscribers aren't everything, but to have done that with a 40K title as small as Dark Tide is, to have done that with anything, I think I'm just blown away that it has come this far. And a lot of that, 30,000 of that, was since just the start of 2025. I wanted to kind of explore different ideas for what I would do with this video. I knew that whatever it was, I really needed to take this opportunity here to express how sincerely appreciative I am for all of you, because literally, like, I make the content, but you guys are the channel, right? I mean, I could make content and vomit it into the void, but if nobody was there to consume it and interact with it, it would be meaningless. And so you guys have given the channel meaning, you've given my life meaning, and that's really what I wanted to relate to you today, is how important, how much this channel and all of this has changed my life, and talk more about how I'm going to be changing my life for the channel. And I can't fully do that without breaking down for you, what brought me to this place in the first place, why I made this channel, what the goals of it are, and just really talking to you person to person. And so, yeah, this first part, viewer, be warned, it will be cringe in the way that a grown man getting emotional about YouTube is going to be cringe. However, if that is not your speed, you can skip to the second part, which is I did a little bit of a dramatic reading of some Dark Tide short story. And so if you like amateur voice acting cringe, that might be more your speed. You can skip ahead to that half. But if you're sticking around and hearing me out and hearing my tale of the, I don't know what we'd call this, the adventure, the journey that this channel has been so far, then you are one of the real ones. And you're a real one if you see this in the first place, of course, because I'm certain that the algorithm won't necessarily love videos like this that aren't strictly on the topic of pushing some drama about the game or balance or whatever. But needless to say, let me just kind of give you some insight into me, and hopefully my goal here is to help you understand why this channel, why this it blowing up in the way that it has is so monumental for me. I am, and pretty much always have been, a pretty lonely person. I don't have a whole lot of friends. I mean, literally one hand, I could count the number of friends that I have in real life, and one of those is my wife. So yeah, that should let you know just about how isolated I am. All of my coworkers and my neighbors are boomers. We don't interact in that way, and I very rarely actually see my friends in real life. Most of the time, we live far apart now. We drifted apart over since the years since college or high school. Just to give you maybe a sense of this isolation that might be a little closer to your experience. I played Dark Tide for 2 full years before I made a single video, and in all that time, I never had any friends to play with. I literally just quick played every single day, or however often I was playing it. And yeah, it sounds bleak. Like, that sounds super bleak saying it out loud, but I was having a good time. And I think you can do that for a while, right? I think that I happen to be equipped with a very strange, conflicting set of needs. One is I like my solitude. I like my privacy. I enjoy alone time. It centers me, but also I do sometimes feel the need to be the center of attention. I feel the need to be valued and to have my voice be heard. And I didn't realize that that was something that I was seeking for a very, very long time. And if you go a long time without acknowledging your needs, you will drive yourself insane. I think that it's something that a lot of people realized during COVID was that isolating yourself from whatever social outlet you might have will actually make you a crazy person. And I was I was beside myself basically at the time that I created the channel. I had nothing to do. I had no social outlets, um, pretty much because of my own doing, because of isolating myself, because I'm too awkward, too afraid of like just going to my local gaming shop and like hanging out with people or whatever it is, meeting new friends. That's beyond the pale to me. So I created this channel and just started posting videos. And at first, I was very excited to talk to my wife about it. And like, hey, I got 100 subscribers. I still remember making a video for 100 subscribers. Like that was a really big deal. And to some people it is, right? And then 1,000 passed and 2,000 passed and the numbers started going up and up. And the channel really has been a whirlwind of ever exceeding expectations. I look at every step along the way and I say, no way, like, no way could I potentially hit that benchmark. No way could I potentially, like, do what someone else is doing. And that was sort of, I always just kind of thought I would be the small side creator in the space or on YouTube in general. And then I still vividly remember the day that I really had a very formative moment. The first time that someone in the Morning Star in Dark Tide recognized me and said like, "Mr. E," like from YouTube in the Morning Star chat. And I said, "Yeah, hey, what's up?" And like I played it cool because you all know me. I'm like the suave, cool guy of Dark Tide. Obviously, that's how everyone sees me. And but interior, like on the inside, I was freaking out. I had about 4,000, maybe 5,000 subs at the time, so I guess I should have been expecting to be recognized at some point. But yeah, like that blew me away. And then someone else chimed in. There were multiple people in this Morningstar who knew who I was and were telling me they really liked my videos and were like, "What's up?" Acting like they were my friends, like they know me. And that was so um momentous to me. That was so uplifting. That was like, I ran downstairs and I told my wife. She probably thought I was like the biggest loser in the world, but I felt like that was so cool to have that happen. And I know that a lot of people out there, make this negative thing out of a parasocial relationship. I don't necessarily see it that way. I think that it is very important to have a somewhat personal connection with the people that you consume content of. Who wants to watch a movie or a YouTube video or listen to music that's created by someone that you just think sucks, right? So when people see me and they say, "Oh, hey, what's up, Mr. E? Hey, like I loved your last video," or whatever, you know, I'm certain there's people out there that are probably excited to be in games with me and don't say anything, but I want you guys to know that that does go both ways. For as cool as it is for you to be in the game with me, the famous guy or whatever, um, it is also like incredibly amazing that I can go into random quick play games and find fans of the channel, find people who watched my video from just yesterday, and they can have a conversation with me like we're friends, like I've been talking directly to them, and that's something that's a big portion of why I try to put my own personality and myself into my videos. I know that I make a lot of jokes about slop content, and of course, there's like slop tide news and stuff like that. But hopefully, you can tell that this isn't just a by the numbers slop channel. I'm really trying to connect with you on a human basis and trying to make it feel fun and personable, and and so we are basically like friends, right? We are all just nerds who play the same game, more or less. If you've watched a video and you've met me in game, we are no different. I just happen to have been recording all of my games and putting them on there while yapping a bunch. So yeah, please don't be afraid of saying hi to me if you see me in public. I'm honestly more shy about it than you guys can even imagine. It's it's just overwhelming. Like it really is overwhelming to see the public, the outpouring for support. And so that was like a really that was a really big moment for me. And that was where I realized that this was something I was actually passionate about, something that I wanted to pursue doing more. And then it took until about like 9 months or so later, around June of 2025, for me to start taking it very, very seriously. And that was about the time that Fat Shark reached out to me and had me on. Well, they didn't have me on the channel for that one, right? But like that was the first time I was in the little Cool Kids Club of creators. And I knew that, like, okay, I have this access. I can take this seriously. And then in the fall, when they had me doing one of the videos on their channel, like that in itself is very, very cool to be like to end up on the main stage of the company who makes the game that you put 3,000 hours into is mind blowing. But more than any of that was going in the comments and seeing all you guys in there who were like, Mr. E, he made it. Sorry. Sorry. It's it's really it's really incredible. I'm sorry, I had to take a breath there to compose myself. What I mean to say in telling all this is that making this channel and making content like this and having that outpouring of support from you guys has been life changing. It has truly been one of the most validating experiences that I have ever undertaken, and I can't deny that any longer. I realize I'm in a position that a lot of other people would kill to be in. To be so privileged that I can do YouTube of a video game that I like full time is insane. And I would be insane to not pursue that as far as I could. I know a lot of you guys know, but if you don't, I do work a full time career. I have a college degree. I work for state government doing science stuff with dirt. So, like, I could pursue that as a career prospect, but I think I would much rather do this. I think that this is truly like my calling. It is one of the most exciting prospects I could think of, is to do this for a living. And I'm going to do that. I have already initiated the process of stepping down from my position and getting someone else to take over my duties. And in maybe 6 months' time or so, I'm going to be full-time YouTube. So that is my way of saying, those of you who are supporting me through showing up to streams and donating, and those of you who are channel members, thank you so much, because it is, I mean, it's going to, that's sort of like, important when you're doing this full time, is being able to stay afloat financially. You guys are amazing. Thank you for being channel members. I'm so glad that you feel that I provide the value, or the community that has sprung up around this provides that level of value, that you can justify that. I know that it is not easy for a lot of people in this day and age to spare money on such frivolous things, and the fact that you would spend it on little old me is just so like humbling. So really, again, thank you. And also thank you to everybody that has ever commented or interacted or whatever in any way, right? Your support in just viewing the videos is truly appreciated. And your support, if you got this far and are still watching this, whatever I'm rambling about, is so truly appreciated, because yeah, you guys are what makes this worthwhile. To be able to have an audience who cares enough to consume this stuff is truly like just so stunning every time I contemplate it. So yeah, that is that's what I wanted to say here today, guys. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving me this opportunity. I won't let you down. We are going hard with Dark Tide this year. Maybe when I am full time and I have even more time to spare, I can look at some other stuff, maybe a second channel. Maybe, hey, if you guys like the following bit here enough, we can make that an idea for a second channel. We'll see. But either way, it has been a wild ride to 40K. Now that we found all 40K Warhammers, we can go to 80K, maybe beyond. I don't know. Only time will tell. Thank you for being along on the journey for me, and enjoy this fun little story time. Bye-bye. So over the months and years, you guys have left a number of comments to the effect of, hey, you've got a great voice. You should do audiobooks. You should do ASMR. You should do voice acting, stuff like that. And well, I guess here is those wishes manifest. I'm going to be reading a short story here. This short story is for the Ogren class. It's part of the Dark Tide series of short stories on their website. I'll link it in the description in case you want to read along. It is called Direct Orders by Sarah Cockwell. And let me know how you feel about it down in the comments. Please be gentle. It is my first time, and I am also reading through this for the first time, so I might stumble at one point or another, but here goes nothing. 2 night cycles previously, at best guess, half of the strike team sat at a table playing a semi-serious game of Darktown Whist. Others were cleaning and maintaining their weapons, some sleeping, but at least it was all of them. Still together, a unit, a squad, a team, friends. Now only 4 remained, and the circumstances were most definitely not conducive to playing games. Strafing gunfire ripped through the ruins of the hab block in which they were taking shelter. Everywhere, the sounds of death and dying echoed throughout the blasted streets, like a ghastly opera playing to a very small, select audience. The traders of the Mobian Sixth were hammering Chasm Station, but then it felt as though everywhere in Tertium was being hammered, maybe everywhere on Atoma. Vox communication with the other strike teams scattered throughout the sector, and worse, with the orbiting Morningstar, had broken down after a heavy stubber shell had punched through the equipment, as well as the man carrying it, and they were running out of places to take cover in the long reaches of Ironside Alley. "Odds not so good this time, Sarge," muttered Alusha, the team's demolitions expert. Her long black hair, usually wound up tightly beneath her cap, had come loose and hung in strands around her harassed face. She propped her las gun on the ground before her and frantically took stock of what explosives she had left in her arsenal. Not many. Sergeant Terrell groaned softly, running his hands through his thinning hair. His helmet was long since gone, thrown off by the blast that had scattered the strike team in all directions. Apart from Karen, whose luck ran out when he'd been too close to the impact to be able to escape the fire and spinning shrapnel. What remained of Karen when the smoke and dust had cleared had not been a pretty sight. An even less pretty sight was that of the big Ogren, Tig, as he had cradled his best friend's torso in his arms, trying to convince himself that everything was fine. Karen and Tig formed an instant bond the moment the Ogren had arrived, newly assigned to the strike team. A big, clumsy mountain of muscle with the flat, blocky features and overly hirsute body of his kind. He'd come to them comparatively recently. Young for an Ogren. What he lacked in knowledge and social grace, and by the throne he had precious little of either, Tig made up for with single-minded determination, unwavering loyalty, and boundless energy. At first the team had only reluctantly accepted his company, but his endless childlike enthusiasm and relentless optimism had quickly worn them down. Within days they had warmed to him. Within a week, none of them could recall the team without him. Overhead, a squadron of blunt-nosed ramshackle attack craft banged sharply to the left with a scream of tortured plasma jets, peeling off in pursuit of the remaining Thunderbolt fighters. Tig hunkered down beside Terrell. Ogren's face was distorted more than usual, the heavy brow twisted into an expression of abject misery. He'd grown close to Karen, a man whose sardonic humor and sharp tongue had savaged the pride of many. Tig was immune to sarcasm and took everything so much to heart that they'd all learned to be careful what they told him to do. He would quite literally follow an order to the letter. "Fight now, Sarge." The bass rumble of his voice began somewhere deep in the barrel chest, making its way through the vocal cords, far more used to shouting battle cries. He was the brute strength of the squad and little more. Not smart enough to be trusted with a firearm, he brandished his serrated edged war maul with immense pride, hefting the heavy weapon with practiced ease. On the occasions the maul had not been to hand, he snatched up any heavy object and did what he referred to as making do. "Rest for a bit, Tig. We need to get our breath back." "Yeah," agreed the Ogren, nodding solemnly. "Breath gone. Karen gone. Bed gone. It's very sad, yeah? Cousin station broken. Tig, fight now while you get breath back." He patted his sergeant on the shoulder awkwardly. Terrell winced at the heavy-handed gesture, but couldn't hide the tired smile that flickered over his face. "Stay where you are, Tig. That's in order." If the Ogren moved out of cover now, he would attract the attention of the recon teams. Even if there were no enemies on the ground within sight, Tig was large enough that he'd be an obvious target for the traitor aircraft. The Ogren may have been as tough as a commissar's boot, but he was not immortal. Tig scratched the back of his neck, dislodging a clot of dirt clinging there from an earlier trip into the mud. "Tig, fight," he repeated. Then his face darkened. "Is all Tig can do now. No bed, no Karen, no squad if Tig not fight." His muscles were bunched beneath the surface, and his posture suggested that he was ready to burst from cover there. But Terrell put a restraining hand, for what little good it would do, on the Ogren's arm. "No," he said sharply. "Tig, stay." He loathed talking to the Ogren like an animal, but it was sometimes necessary. The abhuman understood and obeyed simple commands, and it was how most people spoke to him when they deigned to speak to him at all. Even Terrell had spoken to him like that in the start. Then, he had come to realize that the Ogren wasn't stupid. Not exactly. He simply processed the world around him in a different way, and at a different speed. Maybe it shouldn't have come as a shock, but it had. Over time, that realization had deepened into understanding to the point that he knew he could rely on Tig as much as any member of the squad. Maybe more so, were he brutally honest. Fresh explosions rocked the shell of the hab block and the ruins of which they were hiding. Debris rained down on their heads. Sergeant Taro looked over at Alusha and Gorik, the other remaining squad members. They were hunkered down, frantically scooping out foxholes in the debris and making themselves as small as they could in an effort to minimize the chances of being hit by falling masonry or stray rounds. A spinning chunk of plasticrete glanced off Tig's shoulder. The Ogren didn't even flinch. "We need to move out of Ironside, Ali," said Terrell, making a decision. "If we can get to the next enclave, perhaps we can contact the Morning Star. We just need an opening. If we can hit Burnside, we can keep moving. We just need those traitorous scum to stop raining death down on us for 5 minutes." Tig brightened. "Tig, fight now?" His brow unfurled, and the slightly off-center smile suggested how excited the idea made him. Such devotion was in no small way utterly heartbreaking. His willingness to die in service of the Emperor was commendable, of course, but Terrell was old-fashioned in wanting to very much keep as many of his squad alive as he could. But things were as bleak as they'd ever been. The Emperor would understand. Sergeant Terrell reached out and clapped Tig on the shoulder. "In a minute, Tig. Just wait a minute. Alusha, Gorik, when we get an opening, we're falling back. Double time for the dead side drop, and we do not look back. Is that clear? Whatever else happens, keep moving." Gorik nodded. Alusha murmured her understanding. Tig was already getting to his feet, showering Terrell and particulate dust. Now for the first time, the sergeant felt the guilt and shame of the way some treated abhumans. Like idiots, like fools, expendable. They were not. They were both more and less than the common soldiery, and there was purity in their service. "Tig, fight?" The big Ogren beamed happily at Terrell, who, in that instant, hated him for it. Just for a moment, he considered giving different orders, but strategic options were limited, and half-remembered regulations from before his time aboard the Morning Star gave clear directions for such scenarios. He released his hand on Tig's shoulder and nodded sharply. Any sorrow would have to wait. It would probably have to wait a very long time.
Yes, Tig. You fight, my friend. If you can, meet us in Enclave and Barros. But now, get out there and make those carking traitors hurt. That's a direct order. Emperor be with you.
Tig's rumbling, infectious laughter slowly grew softer as he set off at a loping run towards the enemy. Terrell knew there was no way in all the Imperium's million worlds he'd ever see the Ogren again.
Emperor be with you,
he repeated in a low, grim voice.
And may he forgive me.
And that brings this Ogren short story to a conclusion. If you guys didn't die of medically induced cringe, and you actually like this, well then let me know in the comments. I might be amenable to doing it in the future, if there's enough support for it. Either way, you made it this far, so really appreciate you for watching the whole video. Happy Valentine's Day, guys. I love all of you. Tell your moms I said hi. I'll see you next time, everyone. Mystery out. Bye-bye.